I've stood in front of a drawer full of random little things, picked one up, and known for sure I don't need this anymore. And still I paused. Not because it was useful, but because a tiny thought popped up in my head. What if? And the exhaustion isn't from cleaning. The exhaustion is from having to argue with myself over every single item, keep it or let it go. Will I regret it? Am I making the wrong choice? I end up feeling both overwhelmed and drained, and then I blame myself. Why do I keep doing this and my space is still never really clear? In this video, I want to be direct. The problem isn't a lack of discipline. The problem is that our brains are deeply afraid of loss. I'll share a few simple questions and a few simple rules that help stop that internal debate, so decisions feel lighter even on a normal day. If you see yourself in this, leave a yes in the comments. And now let's begin. Start with this. I usually start in that random stuff drawer, the one where everything feels like it might be worth keeping just in case. I stood there, picked up an old charging cord, and immediately heard the familiar thought, what if I need it? It sounds reasonable, but the feeling that comes with it isn't reasonable at all. My chest tightens, my body pauses like I'm about to make a mistake. So I tried something small, no big pep talk, no forcing myself to be brave. I asked one question, when was the last time I actually needed this? And I don't let myself answer with vague things like, sometimes, or maybe someday. I want a real moment I can point to. The funny thing is, if you truly need something, your brain remembers fast. But if I stand there for 10 seconds and can't come up with a single time, then I know the problem isn't the item, it's the what if. That's when it clicked. A lot of what I keep isn't because it's useful. It's because I'm trying to avoid an imagined regret. And that's not a personal flaw. It's a really common human thing. Our brains are built to be cautious. They exaggerate risk to keep us safe. It's just that now, instead of keeping me safe, my brain is keeping a mystery cord from who knows when. So I take one very ordinary step, I set the item aside and look back into the drawer. If I don't have a real last time I used it moment, I let myself label it as an anxiety scenario, not a real need. My body relaxes almost immediately. And what surprised me most was this: when I let a few things go using that question, I didn't feel deprived. I felt calm because I was finally separating what I actually need from fear dressed up as logic. And if that same what-if voice shows up when you're about to buy something, the next video will help. I'll break down why we slip into impulse shopping, how it convinces us one more thing will fix the feeling, and what it's really costing us, so you can pause and buy less without feeling deprived. Then there's a totally different kind of stuck. Not what if I need it, but it's not hurting anything. This shows up so much in the kitchen. One normal morning, I was trying to make something quick, opened a cabinet, and everything hit me at once. Impulse buy jars, little gadgets, the I'll use this someday tools. None of it is bad enough to call trash. But the feeling is crystal clear, cramped, messy, irritated. I remember one day I was hunting for a measuring spoon. I pulled out half the drawer, clattered things around, gave up, and used a regular spoon. That's when I saw it. I'm not losing because the item is ugly or useless. I'm losing because it charges me a small daily fee, a fee in time and space and frustration. It's like an invisible tax. So instead of asking keep or toss, I switched to a question that sounds a little blunt but works fast. What is keeping this costing me? I don't overthink it. I answer it with what I just lived through. It costs me space. The things I actually use get shoved to the back and I end up stacking everything. It costs me time. Cooking includes an extra scavenger hunt. It costs me mood, that low-level annoyance that repeats every day. Then I do a quick reality check right there, no debate. Have I touched this at all this week? If not, it goes to the side. And I add one more everyday scenario. If this shelf had to shrink by 20%, or I move to a smaller place, would this get priority space? That question makes decisions faster because it forces me to choose what supports my real life, not what survives out of habit. And if this sounds like you're not doing anything wrong. A lot of people get stuck with items that aren't bad enough to toss, but are absolutely heavy enough to drain you. The moment you shift from, what will I lose if I let it go, to, what am I losing by keeping it, your brain changes direction. And the relief isn't just a clearer cabinet. It's the quiet of not paying those tiny daily irritation fees anymore. There's one category. I get stuck on the longest items that are still new. Still nice still. I didn't even get my money's worth. They aren't trash. They feel like a reminder of who I hoped I'd be with them. I'm thinking of a shirt with the tag still on a matching storage set I bought in a bundle, or a kitchen tool I used once and then buried in a cabinet. Every time I open that door, I don't just see stuff, I feel a little pinch of regret. And I realize the heaviness here isn't what if I needed. It would be wasteful to get rid of this. That word wasteful sticks because it drags in money, effort, and the uncomfortable feeling that I chose wrong. If you get stuck here, that's not unusual at all. Your brain wants an emotional refund. It wants a neat ending, like I used it enough to justify it, so you don't have to admit you bought it on a mood. I don't force myself to be ruthless. I just ask one honest question, like holding up a mirror. Am I keeping this to use it, or to feel less regret? If it's truly for use, I should be able to name a real plan when I'll use it and how. But if my only answer is, I'll use it someday, I know that's not a plan. That's me extending the regret. And here's the part that made me laugh a little. Keeping it doesn't bring the money back. It just keeps the discomfort alive every time I see it, like paying a tiny emotional installment day after day. So I choose a softer ending. I tell myself I learned the lesson from this purchase, and I let it be done. What felt the best afterward wasn't even the extra space. It was the silence without that little whisper in my head. Why didn't you use it like you said you would? You're not wrong for feeling regret. You just deserve to feel lighter instead of carrying that regret through your everyday life. Then I started noticing a harmless little phrase I say all the time, I'll use it. It shows up everywhere. Books I bought to read, workout gear I bought to work out, healthy cooking tools, craft supplies for relaxing on the weekend. Every item has a hopeful story behind it. But the strange thing is, the more I'll use it, stuff I had, the more suffocated I felt. One night I was clearing a small corner and saw a whole pile of things waiting for me to become a different person. Journals, kits, supplies meant for a new habit. And I realized why it's so hard to let go. It isn't just an item, it's a promise. Getting rid of it feels like admitting I didn't follow through. So I asked a question that cuts through the self-blame fast. Am I trusting my current self, or am I pressuring my future self? If I'm trusting my current self, I keep what fits my real rhythm: busy, tired, limited time, needing simple. But if I'm pressuring my future self, then I'm keeping objects like homework assignments for a person who may never have the extra energy to do them. And suddenly it was obvious some of these items weren't helping me move forward. They were quietly telling me, I'm not enough, not consistent, not there yet. That pressure is so common, especially when you're already carrying a lot. You're not lazy. You're living in a pace that's already full, so adding more projects into your home turns into weight. I didn't throw away my dreams. I separated the dream from the object. I kept one small thing I could realistically use this week, one tiny step, and let the rest go. And what I felt wasn't failure. It was a relief. My home got clearer in a gentle way, not because I forced perfection, but because I stopped using objects to pressure myself. At one point I realized my home wasn't messy in a dramatic, overflowing way. It was messy in a suspended way. A few things temporarily on the dining table. A bag by the door to donate tomorrow. A couple items on a shelf I'll deal with later. A little pile in every room. And those little piles made my mind feel like it had 10 tabs open. I wasn't tired from cleaning. I was tired because every undecided item is an unanswered question. My brain walks past it and nudges me, handle that. But I didn't have the time or energy to answer everything at once. So I lived in that floating state, and the overwhelm kept growing. So I did something blunt, almost silly, but it worked immediately. I grabbed a box or a drawer and labeled it undecided. One rule: nothing gets to live scattered around the house. If it's undecided, it goes in the box. Just doing that made my home feel calmer because my eyes weren't being attacked by mini decision piles everywhere. Then I made the commitment, tiny on purpose, 5 items or 5 minutes a day. Not to finish everything, just to shrink the open loops. Some days, I only did 3 items, and that was still a win. Because the win isn't how much you toss. The win is how many decisions you close. And if you've been blaming yourself for having stuff out, you're not wrong or broken. When we're overloaded, the brain loves temporary because it avoids decisions. You just need a legitimate place for temporary, so your house doesn't become a to-do list. As those open loops shrink, the lightness shows up fast without you having to become a brand new person. When it comes to sentimental items, I don't want to turn it into a deep emotional excavation that leaves me drained halfway through. Some days I just want my home to feel a little lighter. I don't want to sit across from an entire chapter of my life. But the irony is, when I avoid it, those items stay in the closet forever, and every time I see them, something tightens in my chest. I remember picking up a tiny thing, a nothing valuable, not even usable anymore, and my hand slowed down. The thought that popped up was familiar. If I get rid of this, am I getting rid of part of myself? And I realized how common that is. Our brains link objects to connection and identity, so they get more protective here than they do with ordinary clutter. If this is hard for you, you're not being weak. You're having a very human reaction. You're trying to protect what the item represents. So I use a fast, gentle approach that still lets me move forward. I say one simple line to myself: my identity doesn't live in this object. Not to force myself, but to remember the memory lives in me, not in what I'm holding. Then I allow myself to keep one representative item, just one, so my brain feels respected. For the rest, I take a photo and write one single line. What do I want to remember? Sometimes it's as simple as I want to remember feeling loved, or I want to remember that season of my life. And that's it. No essay, no proving anything, just a clean ending. What surprised me was that I didn't feel like I lost the memory. I felt like I stored it in the right place inside me, not on a shelf. And if you're worried you'll regret it later, remember, you're not erasing the past. You're changing how you hold it, from letting it take up room in your home to letting it be honored in your heart. And that's enough. The biggest shift for me happened when I stopped relying on willpower and started relying on a system. Because honestly, after a long day, everyone is tired. If I make my brain weigh every single item in that moment, it pushes back. And it pushes back in a sneaky way. It produces a bunch of perfectly reasonable excuses to keep everything exactly as it is. So I follow a set process, so my brain doesn't have to invent reasons anymore. I start with a quick combo for everyday items. I use the 90-90 rule. I ask myself, have I used this in the last 90 days? Am I sure I'll use it in the next 90? If the answer is no to both, it goes. No debate, just the rule I chose ahead of time when I was calm and thinking clearly. But for the items that make me pause, I don't force an immediate permanent decision. That's where the exit ramp saves me. I put them in a 7-day quarantine box. I label it. I set a date. My brain relaxes because it isn't being pushed into forever in a single minute. And honestly, most of the time I never open that box. 7 days go by and life is still fine. That's when it becomes obvious what was holding me wasn't a real need. It was fear. And once I see that letting go feels less like a gamble and more like relief. If you're a just-in-case person, a different combo works better. One limited box for just-in-case items, and if it gets full, something has to leave. That gives you safety without turning your home into storage, and it keeps the category from quietly taking over. Before I let things go, I do one small closing ritual. I take a photo if I want, and I say thank you. We're done. The brain likes clean endings. And if you hesitate a lot, don't beat yourself up. Decision fatigue is real, and it's incredibly common. That's why rules and exit ramps work. They let you move forward without having to argue with yourself, especially on the days you have the least energy to spare. The final thing that helped me stay clear wasn't decluttering more. It was stopping the cycle of clear for a week, then clutter again. I used to clean out a space, feel great, and then watch it fill back up. And that can make you conclude, maybe I'm just not good at this. But most of the time, the real issue is flow stuff keeps coming in, while stuff going out has no rule, so the house naturally returns to full, even if you're trying. I started with one blunt principle that works because it's simple: one in, one out. If a new item comes into my home, one old item has to leave. No drama, just fairness to my space. And the best part is, it makes me more thoughtful when I'm about to buy. A lot of I wanted items stop feeling worth it once I realize something else has to go, and I have to choose what I'm actually prioritizing. The second rule saves me from impulse buying, the 24-hour rule. Anything that makes me feel instantly excited like this will change my life. I wait 24 hours before I decide. Not as punishment, but to let the emotions settle. Most of the time after a day, I realize I was just tired, stressed, or trying to fill a gap. And when the feeling drops, the urge drops with it. If I still want it after 24 hours, I'm usually making that decision from a calmer place. Those two rules do something huge. They reduce how often you have to declutter from scratch. And that's the real relief. Decluttering shouldn't be a big campaign that drains you. It should be a small valve that keeps your home from refilling too easily, so clear becomes the default instead of a temporary phase. If you've been thinking I keep cleaning and it still comes back, you're not wrong. Life is busy and stuff flows in like water. You just need 2 small door locks so your effort doesn't get erased by the next few purchases. And when your space stays lighter, you'll feel it in your mind too. Less noise, less self-blame, and more of that steady sense that you're back in control even on an ordinary day. Bottom line, I don't declutter the old way anymore. Trying to force myself to be strong, arguing with every single item until I'm exhausted, and then watching the space fill back up. I switched to something simpler. Instead of debating, I use a few clear questions and a couple of fixed rules, so decisions feel lighter and cleaner. If you want to try a small step today, pick just one drawer or one shelf. For anything you hesitate on, ask, when was the last time I actually needed this? If you can't name a real moment, put it in a 7-day quarantine box. And for the stuff that feels harmless to keep, ask one more question. What is keeping this costing me every day? 5 minutes is enough to feel a difference. And finally, you deserve to live in a space that makes you feel like you have enough, not perfect, not magazine ready, just calm enough that your mind can exhale when you walk in.